everyone. Welcome to Journeys Live, featuring Innovations 2050, our new MTP. As some of you may know, the MTP is our long-range plan that we do every 4 years. It's like our Super Bowl. We get really excited when it's MTP time here. And our new principal planner, Mike Pettit-Amage. How are you, Mike?
Doing fine. Thank you very much.
So we are also excited to have him here, and he is taking charge of the new MTP. So why don't you explain to people what the MTP is, start there, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, as Helen indicated, the MTP is the Metropolitan Transportation Master Plan for the county, and our regional jurisdiction here includes all of the 19 municipalities here in Kent County, as well as the entire unincorporated area of the county. And part of our work will involve a meeting with our municipal partners, county partners, state agency representatives, and flushing out all of the transportation issues that may be swirling about, some of the priorities that our towns and cities have for improved transportation and mobility, and ultimately developing a strategy for future implementation of needed improvements to our transportation system. The overall goal would be to have a seamless system of mobility choices for our citizens and our visitors as they navigate through this central Delaware region.
Yeah, I think, to put it simply, I think what we're trying to do with this MTP is to make getting from point A to point B easier and better for everyone, more fair for everyone, better for the environment, better for business, most importantly, better for you, which is why your voice is so important, why we need you to help us do this program. So hang with us, because I know we're talking about a lot of stuff that you're like, why am I interested in this? Pay attention, because you are interested in this, believe me. Because this is all about when you get in your car, or when you get on the bus, or when you climb on your bike, or when you start hoofing it down the street, what you're going to encounter and how we're hopefully going to make it a much better experience. So let's talk about the timeline.
Sure. Well, the timeline is roughly a 12-month planning period, beginning now in January of 2024. We will be embarking on a series of meetings with our municipal partners to talk about some of the elements of their comprehensive plan relative to transportation, some of the goals and aspirations of our local communities, documenting all that information, meeting with various state agencies such as DELDOT, the Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control, State Housing Authority, and others, public health, to glean out top priorities relative to transportation that need to be addressed. And that'll occur in the early springtime. We intend to have that phase of the information gathering complete in February-March time period. We intend to host our first public workshop in May to invite the public to hear about some of the information we've gathered, and also to share from a public's perspective their reaction to that information, and also provide input into the process. That would be a well-announced public participation effort in May. That'll be our first workshop. And then once we hear from our public and we have all that background information, we will enter into a plan development phase, which will be through the summer months of June, July, and that's where we'll be developing recommendations for transportation improvements. We'll be forecasting future growth trends and addressing the growth and transportation needs of growth in a forecasting model. That model will help us forecast transportation impacts related to land use and development patterns that will be occurring. This plan is a long-range plan, although we had updated every 4 years, it is a 25-year time horizon that we're looking at. So we're looking at population projection forecasts from 2020 to 2050, and we will be building the transportation recommendations around the growth patterns. So our goal is to have a draft MTP ready for consumption and review by the public by the end of August. We will then enter a public review phase in September, October time period. There will be an additional public workshop in September, about mid-September, to share the results of the plan development phase with the public, get further reaction and input, refinement of the plan, and then in October, November, we will be bringing forward the plan through our Public Advisory Committee, which is a formal body of the Metropolitan Planning Organization here. Members of the community who are chosen to represent citizens will come together and review the MTP draft, provide input. That input and draft will then be reviewed by our Technical Advisory Committee, which consists mainly of agency representatives from the county, from the cities, from the state of Delaware agencies, and they'll provide further review. Ultimately, our goal is to have the draft finalized by the end of December and presented before our Metropolitan Planning Organization Council in January of 2025 for review and ultimately adoption by the end of that month.
So, yes, it's called Innovations 2025 or 2050. It's a 25-year look into the future, but we're not sitting here with magic 8 balls trying to figure stuff out. We actually have a reasonable way of making educated guesses about population, about needs, about what technology is going to do. So now let's talk about the actual plan and what our goals are for the
sure.
actual plan.
Well, some of the primary themes around the plan will be primarily targeted toward enhanced mobility for our citizens and our visitors. As I mentioned earlier, the goal will be to address all modes of transportation: vehicular, transit, pedestrian, barrier-free access for all citizens, bicycle, and other non-motorized transportation will be addressed. And we want to ultimately emerge with a plan for a seamless transportation network. If you can think about the transportation system, there are various elements to it, and we will separate those elements out, take a look at them in isolation, see where the deficiencies are, and address them, and then bring the system back together. And our goal, again, is to have a holistic network that really serves as a seamless transportation system for everyone. I mentioned earlier that we will be meeting with all of our 19 municipalities and our county partners, state agencies. Interjurisdictional coordination is a big part of this plan, so we want to make sure that all voices are heard. We know that various towns and cities are working on portions of the transportation network, various capacities. The state is a big player, obviously, in transportation in Delaware, but we need to bring it all together and tie it together in this plan. So that's a big theme of the plan, is intergovernmental coordination and cooperation as we develop the plan. Economic development. If you think about transportation, everything related to our economy is tied to transportation in one way or the other, whether it's how we navigate to get to where we are employed or to shop, or how goods and services get delivered to us, the consumers, in various ways. And we need to address all that, because obviously it's in everyone's interest to have a sound and vital local economy, and it is dependent upon good and complete transportation.
Absolutely. We've all heard a lot lately about supply chain issues and and stuff like that. And so yes, that has become extremely important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the public involvement portion of it briefly. And we'll have two formal public workshops, one in the spring and then one in the fall. But in between, there's going to be a very extensive effort led by Helen, my colleague here to my right, who will be engaging with the public in a variety of ways throughout the community to get the input of the average citizen, the everyday person, relative to all sorts of transportation questions. And part of the reason we do that is we want to make sure that all voices are heard. It's very important that whatever emerges from this is viewed and is based in fairness to all, and that we don't leave any segments of the population unheard from. Barrier-free access to the transportation system is very important, but barrier-free access to providing input is equally important. And so we want to provide citizens, every citizen in the county, the opportunity to be engaged and to provide their thoughts relative to transportation. When we think about the impact of transportation on our natural environment and some of the more recent concerns relative to increased storm frequency and climate change, when we propose improvements or changes to our transportation network, we want to make sure it's done within the context of climate impact and environmental impact to minimize our exposure, to minimize any kind of adverse effects that our transportation improvements might make. And when we make investments in the transportation system, that they're done in a way that we know will be investments that will endure and won't be damaged by environmental impacts moving forward. So resiliency and sustainability of our transportation systems are another big theme of this whole effort. And lastly, I would just point to the overall quality of the transportation experience for our citizens and visitors who use the system. That's another significant theme for us as we develop and improve the transportation system, the road network, the pedestrian environment, the barrier-free access facilities throughout the community. We're going to make sure that they incorporate a sense of security, a sense of safety, and they're pleasant places to be. Because when they're pleasant places to be, pleasant places to drive, pleasant places to walk, pleasant places to bicycle, or however you navigate, you will tend to use them more frequently and you'll appreciate them more. And so the overall creature comfort of our transportation network is going to be one of the main themes that we address throughout the plan as well.
That's very true too. So when you think about how much time you spend in your car, or how much time you spend on a bus, or how much time you spend getting from point A to point B, most human beings spend more time traveling to get somewhere than they actually spend on vacation. So if you get 1 week of vacation every year and you go away somewhere, you're actually spending more time every day of your life going from home to work, or from work to the store, or from the store to home, or whatever, than you get to spend in that 1 week vacation. So if you take a vacation and you go somewhere beautiful, or you go somewhere fun, or you go somewhere interesting, and you have this great time, was it worth the other 360 days that you spent looking at drab concrete, or breathing in air pollution, or just having a miserable time? No. So your time on the road should be a good user experience. It should be a good experience. It should be smooth. It should be safe. It should be time efficient, but it also should be nice. It should be pleasurable, you know? So that's the other thing. And as we move away from car-centric mobility, and we move more toward multimodal ways of moving around as a society, not just as a state or a county, but across the country, we're moving more toward multimodal transportation as opposed to everything being about your car. And so that becomes even more important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and safety obviously is a big part of transportation. The emphasis on safe and efficient, as you mentioned, is critical, and making it pleasant is also critical in our view. Back to the economy, when we think about moving goods and services, and let's focus mainly on goods, a lot of trucks on the road. A lot of smaller parcel delivery trucks now on the road, and we all depend upon.
I'll admit, I love my Amazon. Yeah. I gotta have the Amazon truck.
Yeah, it's so much more a part of our daily life, and that's a significant element of our commerce today is the home delivery, and we need to incorporate that into our thinking, and that's the kind of the micro delivery part. But on the macro scale, when large quantities of raw material need to move into the community, whether it's going to a factory to be processed into something, or if it's being collected here and being shipped out to other locations, such as our agricultural products do, it's important for us to consider how freight movement is dealt with and how it impacts the transportation system. And so, one of the things that we're looking at right now is how we can better utilize and leverage our railroad resources that exist and that can be improved upon and expanded to serve our local economy. And because the railroad, of course, has been in our midst for hundreds of years now, literally, but are we utilizing it to the fullest? Are we maximizing that to the advantage of our local economy? Well, we're going to be looking at that and making recommendations regarding that as well. Yeah. So, and if we can, the more we can move product off the roads and onto railroad, there's a safety aspect with that, and reducing the number of large wheelbase vehicles on our local roads would be important to us.
Yeah, yeah. So there's all kinds of stuff in the MTP. As you can hear and as you can tell, this is going to be a very, very comprehensive document. Don't worry, we're going to make it as easy to digest as possible, right? We're going to work on making it more graphic. We're going to have companion videos. We're going to have a lot of things to make it easier to take all this information in. So don't feel overwhelmed already, because it's really important that you come on board with us, to use a railroad pun. We are going to be out and about, so look for us. We might be in your grocery store, or we might be in the library, or we might just be on a corner somewhere. We don't know. But if you see us, stop, say hi. Thank you for hanging out with us today. Thank you for your concern and your appreciation of your community and your infrastructure and your transportation network, and we really look forward to seeing you out and about, and so we'll see you out there in person or online or somewhere. Thank you very much.
Look forward to it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.